Hey everyone, welcome to the end of the year awards show here at the Adam and Chris show. I'm saying Adam.
I'm Chris Malice.
Hey Chris, what can we say about 2020?
Well, we're not in a studio recording live,
Right.
filming live. We're on fucking Zoom. So that's how great 2020 was.
Right.
A total shit year.
It was, you couldn't even make this shit up with what happened this year.
Yeah.
So, we got awards to give out: the good, the bad, and the very ugly.
Oh, it gets ugly.
Oh, yes. Chris, what was your favorite thing that happened this year on a personal level?
On a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm no longer married.
That's your favorite thing?
No, that's not my favorite thing. Kirk Winston's solo album is really fucking good. It's not the heaviest thing in the world, but it's good. His song Dream Emotion, probably I listened to that song Dream Emotion about 100 fucking times. Love it. Killer tune.
Okay.
So
what was the worst thing that happened to you
and
this
Doom
year?
Eternal was one of the best things this year.
Okay.
One of the worst things that happened this year? Personally? Oh, geez.
Oh, just whatever comes to mind.
Oh, I've been to 3 fucking funerals this year. One for murder, one for somebody with cancer, and then there's another one, I think. I can think of those 2, but higher up at my job passed away of cancer, 2 with cancer. So as a person, as a parent that's a cancer survivor, she counts her blessings every day when she hears one of those stories. So,
well, like I said, good and bad this year. I got some good. Like I said, got a new place to record, so that's good.
Yeah.
Bad, just like you said, people passing away.
Yeah.
Which, as of this recording, one of my favorite guitar players passed away.
Yeah. Is it Alexia or from Children of Bodom?
Yeah.
Yeah. Killer guitar player.
Very.
With them, I kind of tuned out after Follow the Reaper, but I mean, they were talented, and I don't think anyone knew that he had all those health issues that he had for years. Mm-hmm. So I think that could explain. I think about a year or 2 ago, him and the drummer, I think they're both brothers, split from the rest of the band, and it pretty much killed the band. And going on tour, writing songs and stuff like that, and dealing with constant health issues. That puts a lot of pressure on somebody, man. I always was playing music kind of part-time. I mean, and you can love the people you're with, but at one point you're around them in a fucking car all day and all that type of shit. And eventually, pressure starts to mount. So,
all right. Well, on that note, let's get into it. Okay. Our first category are movies. The movies of 2020. So we got, for the best movie of the year, I'm going to have to go with, and this was actually unanimous, but
yeah,
The Invisible Man.
That was good. It was very good.
That's a great movie. I remember you and I went and saw it in theaters. It was like one of the last films I got to see in theaters.
Yeah.
And just they built that tension in that film so well, to the point where we.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, to the point where you had people screaming in the audience.
I think the best scene in that movie, the ending was pretty good, but the best scene in that movie is when she's up in the attic and when she throws the pen, and that's where she's realized, and you see just his head.
Spoilers for anyone that didn't know about that.
Well, it's one of the best. Jump scares are usually terrible unless the monster's actually there. And that was one of the best moments, because it's kind of like the scene in The Shining when Jack Nicholson's wife goes up to all of his papers and books, and she starts to see what he's been typing. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And she realizes he's been typing this pretty much since the whole time. So it's like that kind of realization that he snapped long ago. Right. So it's her realizing he's been following me the whole fucking time. So, yeah, I thought that was fucking great. That was
well acted, well written, well directed. Just it wins. Now, for worst movie of the year, when you think of bad movies, Chris, what's a name that usually comes to mind that's associated with bad movies?
Uwe Boll?
No. What's an actor that his name usually comes to mind when you think of bad movies?
Oh, there's quite a few.
Which leads
Sandler?
There you go. So for worst movie of the year, it's going to be Hubie Halloween.
Yeah. That's...
Oh my gosh, my wife put it on, and I was trying to mind my business, and I'm sitting there on the couch reading. She's watching it, but you hear everything. You look up, and this movie is just not funny. It's not funny, and I'm like, someone's like, "Oh, it was written with a love for Halloween." Why? Because it takes place during Halloween. The plot doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of go nowhere things, a lot of stupid Sandler humor too.
Was he trying to fulfill that promise he made that after he got snubbed for Uncut Gems, which is a great movie? He was fucking good in it.
Great in that film.
When he got the snub for that, he made a promise he's going to make a movie so bad they're going to have to nominate him next time he does something good. That ain't going to work that way. They're not going to sit there. The whole reason he got snubbed was the Academy was like, look, yeah, he's good in this, and he's had a couple. We'll be giving an award to Adam Sandler. His ratio of good films, and they don't take him seriously as an actor, which is sad because he has turned in good performances. He
does. I mean, I think if he's not left to his own devices, then he's good. But when you let him and his Happy Madison crew come up with something, it's usually abominable.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, like really, just all the jokes that they try to do, like he's scared of everything. And it's one of those movies where he does a goofy voice through the entire thing.
Oh, God.
Right. And I mean, like, Sandler can do voices, and he can do good voices, like Hotel Transylvania, him as Dracula. That's pretty good. But here, it's like, it reminds me of like him doing the kind of voices off one of his comedy albums, but just the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's supposed to be like the long lost brother of the water boy in this. Not that they have the same accent, but it's kind of the same goofy voice.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at least the water boy had like, a cast that could carry Sandler and help make things.
One of them was My Girl Feruza Balk.
And the fucking ending of this film just comes the fuck out of nowhere. Like when you figure out who's been doing the scary stuff, and I'm like, how does that make any sense? It doesn't. I think I said, fuck whoever made this film, fuck them with a curling iron. Well, when I did like a Facebook review of it, but I'm like, no, this is bad. Not that I want to see whoever did this film get fucked with a curling iron, of course not. But no, this definitely deserves, in my opinion, worst film of the year. Now, going from movies to music, a lot of albums dropped this year.
Yep.
A lot of really good albums dropped this year. But for best album of 2020, we're going to have to go with Mr. Bungle's The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny. Because I want you to, it's a remake of their demo, the very first demo they did back in like 85. Mm-hmm. But you got Mike Patton on vocals.
Yeah.
Which he's amazing. And as guest musicians on this, because you have a lead guitar player, you have a bass player that are part of Mr. Bungle, but he brought in Scott Ian on rhythm guitar and Dave Lombardo on drums.
Nice.
How can you go wrong with that?
Well, the thing with Bungle, he's been doing that since he was in high school, I believe.
Right. Yeah.
Before he was actually the second vocalist of Faith No More.
Yeah.
I think he's the better vocalist. I mean, do we need to go look at his record sales versus the original? I don't want to do that because I don't think that to me stays quality. But I mean, he's the more iconic frontman that they've had. So
well, Mike Patton's just great when it comes to vocals. Not just, I mean, he can sing like any style, but then he also does vocal effects for movies and video games.
Yeah, he played the voice of the Darkness in I think both the Darkness games.
He did the voice of the creatures in the Left 4 Dead games.
Mm-hmm.
He did the vocal effects for the creatures in I Am Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott Ian, founding member of Anthrax. I mean, that right alone, that backs up anything you got. Dave Lombardo, my favorite drummer.
Yeah.
Who, if anyone doesn't know that name, just look at the best Slayer albums.
Oh yeah, he was all over them.
Mm-hmm.
Not to take anything away from Bostiff. Bostiff was good.
Oh no, Paul Bostiff is good, but I mean, like, given the choice between the two, I gotta go Lombardo. I think everyone would go Lombardo.
Yeah. Scandaville of Morbid Angel was one of the best, but man, he's hung up his. That's another thing. We're gonna have a lot of people hanging up in the next few years. Get ready to see a lot of musicians, actors, probably wrestlers, writers and stuff start hanging up their spurs, man. He hung up his, so I think we're going to start seeing more of that. So
okay, well, for every positive, there's a negative.
Mm-hmm.
So for every best album of the year, there's a worst album of the year.
Oh,
and Chris, I'm going to let you name this.
Oh, Corey Taylor's solo album. That thing was shit.
No, wait, you got to let me do some build up on this. In a year that brought us a pandemic, in a year that brought us Australia burning, in a year that brought, civil unrest and financial ruin and a lot of things, what album really does a good job, showing all this?
It's Corey Taylor's "I'm a Jock Motherfucker" album. That's what that is. Can we say that he's just come full circle?
Corey Taylor, CMFT, which stands for Corey Motherfucking Taylor.
Oh, stop. Hey, did anyone stop him? No, why? He can't be stopped. Dude, I'm just going to fucking straight up say this. He came full circle and he's the epitome of everything he used to hate. So fuck him. I've been saying fuck him for what, the last 5-6 years?
Well, that first single that he did, CMFT Must Be Stopped.
That's embarrassing for Nickelback.
Well, it's funny you should say that because other singles off that album sound like songs that weren't good enough for Nickelback. There's more ballady stuff on there. They sound like songs that Nickelback said, "Now we're too good for that."
That's fucked up.
But that single where he's rapping,
he's walking around with a fucking championship belt because he's a champion in his head.
I'm telling you, that's not good because you have Chris Jericho in that album. Him and Jericho are friends. Watch, Jericho's gonna bring Corey into AEW to defend that belt.
Oh God, I hope not. I don't want to see Corey Taylor anymore. Mister, I'm so crazy, I'm so metal, but I have this other pussy butt rock side. Fuck you. I don't give a shit how many fucking records Slipknot sells. You're always a fucking imposter to me. Fuck you.
I know some people are like, well, he's just having fun with this. I'm like, yeah, but see, it's insulting because I know what he's capable of, as we saw with
having fun being a tool bag.
Albums like Iowa have shown us, when Corey wants to get savage, when he wants to bring it, he can. But this is just insulting.
It's an appeal to fucking get what it is. Those fucking bad butt rock anthems that they play at bad sporting events. That's what that shit is. We don't make that kind of music.
I don't know anyone that bought that album and celebrates it. I mean, I was embarrassed watching the video. I was embarrassed for him and everyone involved.
Oh, I was laughing because somebody and I had somebody posted something on Facebook about how legit Slipknot was, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't buy that shit at all. Well, Evan from Biohazard was in one of. I don't care. Record labels pay these other musicians that have a good name, because they did it with Kerry King with Sum 41. After he appeared in that shitty Sum 41 video, they asked him later, like, well, why'd you appear in that Sum 41 video? He's like, oh, they're nice kids. They like Slayer, and they paid me a lot of money. You know, they do that for name recognition. That's the reason why fucking Jerry Cantrell was all trying to praise Nickelback, because the record labels are saying, hey, these guys, they can't stand on their own. What they're trying to do is, after they got the casual audience to buy that one fucking record, they're trying to get the more regular rock, metal, and hardcore fans to support them. So they're getting these fucking legends that have a good name to do that shit. That's why. So I don't give a fuck that Dimebag was on one of their songs. I don't give a fuck that Evan was on, said they're cool. They're still shit. They still fucking shit in their fucking masks, roll around on it, you know. And Corey Taylor, there might be some musicians in Slipknot that have real fucking talent. And, you know, Corey's just, he's everything he fucking came out. He's Fred Durst. Oh. Didn't you get that fucking, don't you get that impression watching that fucking video?
The fact that he felt the need to put his name all over everything reminded me back in the day how Fred Durst couldn't do an interview or anything without him throwing up the name Limp Bizkit or something like that. And like, it's even I have that Straight Up album that was dedicated to Lynn Straight from Snot when he passed away. Yeah. And in the song, there's Fred dropping the name Limp Bizkit. So yeah, I mean, Corey's really going down that road.
Well, it's like I said, man, it's his appeal to try to go mainstream. And of course, it, you know, kind of landed with a thud, which it would. How the fuck can somebody tell me how in the fuck the singer of Slipknot, crazy motherfucking Slipknot, thought it was okay to release that shit? If Morbid Angel got shit for that fucking weird industrial fuck machine album, what the fuck? Did somebody not sit there and fucking say, hey, Corey, take a look at what they did and don't do it? Dumb motherfuckers.
I mean, I don't think he put any techno on that album.
I don't give a shit. Dude, he had two fucking guys rapping in there, and they weren't like, they were fucking that boring, stupid, vanilla, yuppie rapper kind of, you know, shit that 16-year-olds listen to. It wasn't like when Biohazard had Onyx and Sticky Fingers in their fucking records, real street dudes. No.
Well, Slayer did that song with Ice-T.
Yeah, that's cool. Ice-T is the shit.
Ice-T is.
You know who's not? Anyone that people fucking that watch Growing Up with the Kardashian fucking like. Fucking
Well, I'm glad you feel so strongly about.
He just looks like a cut too. He looks. Oh, I could go on for hours, but our subscriber count would, you know, we already have like what 15. We'll go from that to like, oh, he really hates Corey Taylor. He's the epitome of everything he fucking supposedly came out against. So fuck him.
Well, going from music to something else we love. Comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, 2020 has given us a lot of time to read. And so we found some good and some bad. And I'm going to say, for the best comic book moment of 2020, it would be Luke Skywalker taking down the Knights of Ren in the comic miniseries, The Rise of Kylo Ren. It shows Luke and a young Kylo, or young Ben Solo, going to the Knights of Ren temple. They get attacked by the Knights, and Luke holds them off. It's one Jedi versus all these Knights, and you see just how powerful with the Force Luke is. And he beats them down. I will say it's a much better scene than what they got in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, it is cool to see, like, you know, everyone's saying this is how powerful Luke is. Which we could, if we don't have this as a category, it probably should have been like for best moments in television.
I know what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen season 1 of that fucking show, so please shut the chat. I haven't even seen season 1.
The season finale of The Mandalorian. That's all I'm going.
Kind of keep that spoiler to yourself. I already got an idea because someone pseudo leaked it to me, but I want to see the shit for myself.
All right, it's pretty cool. But so yeah, pretty good moment in comics. Like I said, you see Luke earn the title of Jedi Master and just, kick the shit out of the Knights of Ren. But that brings us to our worst moment in comics, which I didn't even tell you what it was. I knew this would be it. And I won't tell you till we're right here on camera. But for the worst moment in comics, it will have to be Suicide Squad issue 9, the death of Deadshot.
Oh, I haven't even why? Is he coming back?
Learned the truth about Ted Kord, and then Deadshot got a taste of his own medicine.
All right. Is Deadshot going to be coming back in the next 7-8 months?
Well, I
yes,
don't know.
He is. Yes, he is. There's a fucking movie with his head on. There's a movie coming out with him on it. He's going to come back in 6 or 7 months.
He's not in the Suicide Squad.
I believe he is, actually.
No, he's not in that movie.
No. There's a game coming out by the end of this year with him in it. Yeah, they're going to put his ass back in comics.
I heard that game got pushed to next year.
Look, they're going to bring him back. That's a fact.
I'm sure they'll bring him back, but the fact that they felt the need to kill him off, especially after, what was it, Suicide Squad issue 2, where they kill off King Shark, who I know will probably be back because he's in the Suicide Squad movie.
No! Why'd they kill off King Shark? God. Because I get the whole...
A lot of the writers today seem to think, you can't write a good story unless you kill someone off.
I get the nature of the Suicide Squad is they're all expendable. So I get the idea of we're trying to show no holds barred.
He didn't die on a mission. I don't think either of them died on a mission.
That's fucking silly.
Like King Shark got eaten by sharks. Yeah.
Whatever. God, why? DC. It's not like they're not having problems with their films not kind of landing with a thud. You don't need to piss on your own comic books. I mean, Marvel, the reason I got out of Marvel and got more into DC the last 5 or 6 years is Marvel was doing the whole, we're going to kill these 5 characters off, make you interested, and we're going to bring them back in about 5 months. We're going to reboot again in like 6 months. There's no sort of continuity. DC was at least sticking to something like that until the New 52 years ago, and then Rebirth was pretty decent, but they put Black Manta on the fucking squad. That was good, but that's fucking silly.
They have an opening now. Deadshot's opening. If you have anyone that wants to apply. I don't know why they felt the need to kill him off. I don't think it didn't make anyone I know want to buy the next issue. Like, I gotta find out what happens. It's like, really, we just got one character death 7 issues ago, and you're doing this again.
Here's my thing. So this might get brought up. If you're going to kill a pivotal character off, I do it for years. I don't want to see him come back for a while.
They did that with Wolverine.
Yeah. But again with Wolverine, good luck him not being on Marvel for fucking a year. Remember, there's one point Wolverine was being put in everything. I was surprised he at one point was in Squirrel Girl, and we're not going to talk about what happened there. That's why I'm like, I applaud what Marvel announced that they were going to do with the Black Panther series without Chadwick Boseman. Let's face the facts. The next 3 years, it's inappropriate to recast him. It is. You're no matter what. So they're going to make it more about Wakanda and the people of Wakanda, which I have an interest in hearing more about. But it's like with Marvel, there's certain that makes sense to me. Not recasting Chadwick Boseman and laying the character down for a while, at least 5, 6, maybe 10 years, because Chadwick Boseman to Black Panther is what Christopher Reeve is to Superman. That's just it. He's going to be that for the rest of his life. He's the standard bearer for that character. But if you're not going to do anything interesting with the character that you're killing off or whatever, or if you're going to bring them back within a month, shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Cassidy doesn't come back at the end of fucking Preacher. We never saw him again. I
don't think we saw any of the characters from Preacher again.
Yeah, I mean, they could do like what they did with Watchmen and do the Watchmen Begins. They have the property. I'm pretty sure they could, exploit. Preacher was just a fucking popular show, so I'm pretty sure they could exploit it.
Oh, Chris, you haven't read Doomsday Clock.
I've read some of it.
But yeah, Deadshot's death to me just represents this period in comics where it's been going on for a while. I think it's been going on since the mid 2000s, where it's like, okay, I'm writing a story. I feel like I need a big moment. Let's kill someone off.
I'll be honest. I think DC and Marvel don't care about the quality of their comics. I think their view with the comic divisions is that's what creates their IPs to make money off of later. I think their thought process is, we'll see what sticks with the comic book community. And if they gravitate towards something, maybe we'll make it to a movie later,
Yeah, I mean, could be. What sucks though is they made Deadshot reconnect with his daughter and then kill him.
Well, I grew up in the era where Deadshot was a careless asshole with a death.
Right.
She didn't have a kid. So that's one of the New 52 changes where he had a kid, and I actually think that, it makes him more redeemable. I don't like him like that because the honest point is he's one of those dudes that, he's kind of like, looking for, that graceful way to go out. That's kind of his mindset. He's reckless, and you don't have characters like that. Now, how many characters do we have that's kind of bad, but they got a kid and they're doing something? We've read that about 100 fucking times, that's just my view on that. I don't think it's the worst thing that they've done to Deadshot. Hell, I still love Punisher, and Marvel's done some shit to him. We could do a whole top 10.
We probably will.
That's going to happen. That's just something to look forward to later.
Well, going from comic books, we're going to go to video games. So, Chris, during a pandemic, you get a lot of chances to catch up on your video games because not a good idea going out. So what is the best game of 2020?
I mean, it's Doom Eternal, hands down. It's fucking good. It's just good. It's great first-person shooting. There's more platforming than you'd like, but it's one of those things where there's little bits of story, but it challenges you. It constantly it challenges you, and the moment you start to get your bearings, it lets you carry and think that you've really done something, then it throws something else at you again, to challenge you. I've played most of the DLC, and it's pretty good. The combat is satisfying. It's just good, and it's visually stunning. It's not one of those games that's just visually stunning on one platform. Cyberpunk on PC. That's a letdown. I think I've almost done with Last of Us 2, and it's good. There's things in it I'm like, that's dumb and that's dumb. But the passion that was put into that is there. There's flaws in it. It is a game that wants to be a fucking movie, where Doom Eternal is a fucking video game, a really good fucking first-person shooter game. Last of Us 2, it's obvious Neil Druckmann wants to make movies, but he's a game director. Like I said, I think it's not going to be in my opinion, the most disappointing game of the year. That's saved for something else. But Doom Eternal hands
coming up.
Yeah.
Well, let's go from best to worst. Chris, what is the worst game of 2020?
13 shit. Yeah, we've had good remakes this year. The Mafia Definitive Edition, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater, fucking Demon Souls got remade on the PS5. Kane, my brother's got that, loves it. You got the Resident Evil 3 remake, which is a little disappointing. But God, 13, Ubisoft, what the fuck? What were you thinking?
Were you thinking?
No, so if you haven't played 13, it's kind of like a conspiracy spy game. And I look at it like David Duchovny voicing Jason Bourne. He starts off not having a memory, but the thing about the game was it had a very comic booky art style. Well, they tried to merge that art style with a more realistic art style, and that kind of shit itself. The gunplay's kind of the fucking comic-y feel's gone, and it's a bug-riddled fucking mess. What the fuck, Ubisoft? They released 4 games this year. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I hear is good. Legion, which I guess is okay. That Phoenix game, which everyone says is good, it's just not selling. And then fucking 13. I think as a publisher, you'd want to fucking bat each one of these out of the fucking ballpark. I don't get how someone that looked at that fucking game the way it was like, this is going to be great. This lives up to the original standard of the first 13. I don't even think they got David Duchovny to re-record any of his fucking acting, his tracks or anything like that. So,
well, to quote Jim Sterling, oh, Ubisoft.
Yeah, is correct.
Well, what is the most disappointing game of
fucking Avengers?
Fucking Avengers. Oh my gosh. This game, and I rented it because there's still a place around here that rents games. Because I didn't want to buy it. I wanted.
And that's
to
the best
try
money you spent on the game.
It's a good concept. I like the idea. Something happened and it caused the Avengers to break up, and you got to help pull them back together. And you can play different characters. It really focuses around Kamala Khan, pulling them back. I like how she's like this fangirl, so she kind of romanticizes how these heroes are, and then like when she meets them, the idea of how she thought they'd be compared to the reality is a little different.
That's classic Stan. Cool. Classic Stan Lee. Make them human. Flawed.
But this game is grindy as shit.
I wonder why. Wasn't it because every character has their own fucking battle pass that they're trying to sell?
God. And you got this upgrade system, you can get, and I think it works good for like Iron Man. You can upgrade the armor, make these attacks better, and
who doesn't
kind of like how some of the shit in Injustice 2 was. The problem is they gave it to every character. So why does the Hulk need these upgrades?
Really? Isn't that special?
Yeah.
Oh, you're already in a shit situation when you throw the Hulk in a game because he's so overpowered in the comic books. You're putting fucking pillows on his fists. No matter
they
what.
Got it right in Ultimate Destruction.
Yeah. And it was because he made you feel like a god. They're not, when you have a game with Hulk and you have the rest of the Avengers there, I mean, they got to balance that game so not everyone's like, well, I'm going to be Hulk and beat the game. Yeah,
but see, you got to find Hulk first for him to even be part of the game. But then, like, you got to upgrade him. You got to keep upgrading him. Like, there's this one of the enemies, and it was a basic enemy. I hadn't upgraded Hulk, and he shot me with this cannon. It took half my life away. And I'm
That's
like,
fucking dumb already.
right.
Already you failed.
What really pissed me off is I'm like, you guys made the Hulk. He has a healing factor. He's not healing. And they had that in Ultimate Destruction. They gave you the healing factor.
Well, didn't they do that with Wolverine in a couple of the Wolverine games?
Yeah, where, you know, like in, yeah, they didn't give him his healing factor either. But, you know, this is everyone knows Marvel now. You know, they put a lot of money into this game, and they were trying to get even more money out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like one of the guys at work and I were joking because they put like these, you know, like all the cosmetics are behind paywalls and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I really want Captain America's sprint costume. That'll really make the game better for me.
I'm sorry. I guarantee you all those companies paid for them to do that. Then why the fuck does the rest of the community have to buy a bunch of fucking microtransactions?
I got a pack of 5 gum, and it has a little barcode to scan in it for the Avengers game. It's like scan to unlock additional content. I'm like, it's gum. It shouldn't have anything to do with my Avengers game.
Yeah, it's corporate-itis, man. It's AAA-itis.
It's
Sterling.
The game is so grindy. It's got some of the most unimaginative villains. I get AIM is like the big evil organization in this, but you have access to all these Marvel villains, and you haven't used them. I know MODOK's in it. I've seen Taskmaster. I fought Abomination, but I'm like, if you know, why not the Masters of Evil? Why not have?
It sounds like that.
Say, why not have Kane the Conqueror? You know, like why not really go all balls to the wall with it?
It sounds like that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was a better fucking Avengers game than this.
It is.
It is because it works. It only asks for 15, maybe $20 for the season pass.
Yeah, but the camera fights you the whole time, though.
Yeah. I think it's actually a pretty good game.
It's fun, but I'm like, that camera pissed me off.
Yeah. Oh, you get Ghost Rider, you're in for a good time because you get him at level 25 and he's just unfuckwithable. Him and Black Panther, when you unlock them, you're like, I just beat the game.
Well, but
Panther's so quick.
Black Panther, who should be in this game, isn't.
You forgot about something.
Insane.
You forgot about one thing. So, Avengers is on 2 different platforms: Sony, Microsoft.
Well, and
PC.
PC.
Going to be in the Microsoft game.
Spider-Man. Which I'm like, is he even going to be in the campaign, or is he just reserved for multiplayer? Because I don't give a shit about the multiplayer on that.
The multiplayer is just that's a thing, and they couldn't do that. That's why they need villains. What they could do is like the Battlefront 2 thing where they have heroes versus villains instead of just horde mode. It's just constant horde mode and going through objectives with your co-op.
And you gotta level up in the game, and if you don't, and you got to do it through grinding or through paying for shit. But if you don't level up, there's certain missions that you can't do until you're at a certain level. And I'm like, that's stupid. The Abomination escapes into New York City. I got Iron Man, the Hulk, and Kamala Khan. It's telling me I got to level up to a certain level before I can go play that level. I'm like, this is so stupid. And like, what kills me most with this game is I can see the potential there.
Mm-hmm.
I can see, because I love the Arkham games. I love the Sony Spider-Man game.
Oh, yeah. Sony Spider-Man.
This could have been on that level, taken to a whole nother level, and they didn't do it. They let corporate greed get in the way. What they did is someone had a nice idea for a game, and all these CEOs got together and skull-fucked it and turned it into this grindy, paywall-y, pile of shit. It's not a bad game, but it's not a great game, and that should have been a great game.
Here's the thing: we will probably end up doing this soon in the next. Seeing as in the last 5 years, we've seen the industry try to really push going towards microtransaction-based games.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many that have just been disappointment after disappointment, that's going to be something we're going to touch on in the future. And this is the second IP for a huge franchise that's just been a huge disappointment. Battlefront 2, now this. I think Disney needs to get a fucking game studio and quit selling the rights to that shit. Granted, they have publishers paying him hand over fist to do it, but they don't know how to fucking do it right.
Right. Well, now on to wrestling.
All right.
Now, a lot of industries have been hit hard by this pandemic. Wrestling really got hit hard.
Yeah.
Because they can't have fans in the building. They've experimented with different ways. WWE did the Thunderdome, which I think I hate it. But at least they tried something.
Yeah.
But, the show must go on. So 2020 still had wrestling, just not people in attendance. So for the best wrestling match of 2020, we're going to go with Walter versus Ilya Dragunov from NXT.
NXT is a good promotion.
This wasn't even on pay-per-view. This was a regular NXT show. I think it was the October 29th NXT United Kingdom show. Not just so two guys beat the shit out of each other. They put on like I don't even know how long, 15 minutes maybe. By the time it was done, Walter won. I gotta say, Dragunov, stood his ground. And by the time it was done, his chest is just beat red, bruised from, Walter with those giant hands, just doing those giant chops across the chest. Dragunov busted open, his lips bleeding. He didn't back down, but he got the shit kicked out of him. It was the right thing to do. Walter is a big guy. You want him to dominate. You want to push him as that unstoppable machine. And this just did it right. And like I said, it wasn't even like a big pay-per-view show.
Yeah.
It's on the network. If you've got the WWE network, check it out. It's definitely worth watching. It was intense. And really with the lack of audience there, you could hear every single punch, kick, chop. Oh my gosh, I'm starting to sound like Paratha the Rapper. But you can hear every move. You can hear skin on skin. You can feel it because it hits so hard.
That kind of like the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair match.
Yes. Or even
that was a good match.
Or even the Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. They worked stiff. And hell, Becky was pregnant, didn't know it at the time, and they worked really stiff. Right. Now, on to the worst match of 2020, and there were a lot. With everyone trying to reinvent the wheel because they didn't have people in attendance, you got a lot of cinematic matches. And good or bad, I think cinematic matches are here to stay.
Yeah.
You don't need a whole pay-per-view full of them. But this year had some bad ones and some honorable mentions. You know how they do Money in the Bank every year?
Yeah.
Did you see the Money in the Bank this year?
No.
Where they had to go into the WWE corporate skyscraper, go in, the briefcase is at the top of the building. They had to go in through the floor or the ground level door and fight their way all through this thing. It was bad. And then like fucking Baron Corbin throws Rey Mysterio off the roof and everyone's like, so are they saying Rey's dead now? What's going on with this? You had Rey Mysterio in an eye versus eye match with Seth Rollins, which no one took seriously because Rey's not losing a fucking eye. And I don't know if you saw the effect where he was like this and they had a ping pong ball under his hand with like red Sharpie on it. So he's like, his eye came out. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
The John Cena match against The Fiend at WrestleMania was a trip into what the fuck am I watching? But there was one match that went beyond.
And it's sad because I know the match you're about to talk about, I like both those wrestlers.
Yeah, I was going to say there's one match that went beyond that. And I'm not even going to talk about the Mimosa match with Jericho and Orange Cassidy. Because this match even went beyond that in the level of horrible. And it is the swamp fight between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman.
That was fucking.
That says it all.
What the fuck are they doing, Braun?
It's a cinematic match. Alexa Bliss was in it for no reason. I mean, I like what they're doing with Alexa now, and I think that opened the door for it. But her being in the cinematic flashes made no sense. Braun getting knocked out and waking up in that cabin in the swamp tied to a chair, and it showed the guy that knocked him out, and it was Braun Strowman who knocked out Braun Strowman. Bray reverting back to his Wyatt family gimmick, but I don't really know what this accomplished, if anything.
What's sad about Braun is he just, like, about last year, he was getting really over. And then they had him kill Goldberg, which is the right thing to do. The match was terrible, but it was the right thing to do. And then this year they've given him go away heat. Mm-hmm. That's what they've given him. He's getting booze like he shouldn't. You know, that angle they had with him with Alexa where he dropped her or whatever. Alexa Bliss, there's like a few people in WWE I'd absolutely hire. Alexa, Charlotte Flair, I'd hire in a minute. You ask her to go get heat, she does it with glee. Rhea Ripley, there's quite a few. And I think Braun is better than they're doing with him, but the person that's had a good year that I think everyone's shocked by is fucking Reigns.
Yeah.
The fact that whole feud with Bray and Braun, that we were happy to see Reigns come in and be a heel and then fucking leave that feud was fucking, that says a lot considering that a year ago when he was a face, nobody fucking, before he had leukemia, no one gave a fuck about the poor guy. He's doing his best work as a heel than he's ever done.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, his stuff's really good. You could say that his return was one of the great moments in wrestling of this year. However, there is one moment in wrestling that has to win greatest moment in wrestling of 2020.
What's that?
And that is, without a doubt, Edge's return at Royal Rumble.
Dude,
I challenge anyone to try to listen for a bigger pop than when that buzzer hit and then you heard that Ultra Bridge song.
Well, and the saddest thing about Edge's return was, of course, was building up to his feud with Randy Orton. And if anyone at that WrestleMania could have benefited the most from a live audience and having a reaction from that audience, it was Edge. And he was denied that this year, which is sad.
I would say it would have been Drew McIntyre.
Drew and Edge, yeah.
But yeah, Edge's return at the Royal Rumble has to be the best moment in wrestling of this past year, because this is a guy 9 years ago was told you'll never wrestle again.
Yeah. His match with Orton at WrestleMania wasn't that good. I still don't get where everyone, when I saw the fucking gym equipment suffocation angle, I'm like, who the fuck okayed that in WWE? We don't mention that devil's name. Why are you reenacting what he did? Okay, whatever. But his match with Orton, the greatest wrestling match, it wasn't the greatest wrestling match ever, but it was a good match. Mm-hmm. You have two guys that are just excel at working with each other. And like or hate Orton, you tell him to go be a heel, he does it amazingly. So.
But I mean, like, just his return at the Rumble. Mm-hmm. He comes out he's in probably the best shape of his life, but he's still he didn't dye his beard, he let his beard go have like patches of gray in it, so he looks like he's been through some shit. And he goes in and he starts spearing motherfuckers left and right, and he hung in there till like he was one of the final three at the end of the match.
Yeah,
and that was great. I mean,
and that angle that he did with Orton, where Orton took him out with the chair.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they know what the fuck they're doing with them. Those two do.
Yeah.
It's a really good example of what happens when Vince lets the good wrestlers actually do their shit and doesn't give them fucking written lines and stuff like that. Because they know what they know what they're doing. Everyone was concerned when Edge's head got put in that chair. Everyone was like, "Oh my god," and they should be. That's all I gotta say about that.
Well, for the worst moments in wrestling this year, it's been quite a year. It's not going to be a match. It's not going to be, someone getting fired or anything like that. It's all the wrestling deaths that we've seen this year.
Yeah.
We have seen just the most recently with Brody Lee, and I know everyone's torn up about that. He was a guy that seemed like he was loved by everyone who knew him, and died the day after Christmas from a lung condition, but not COVID related.
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible. He's only 41. His he died, and he didn't get to celebrate Christmas with his family. I heard he was a really big family guy.
Yeah.
It
wasn't just him.
But it wasn't just him. I mean, we lost Pat Patterson this year, the guy that helped come up with the concept of the Royal Rumble and helped put together a lot of the most memorable matches that we've seen in the WWE. We've lost, excuse me, we lost like Shad Gaspar, and that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was sad.
Being drowned, with him and his kid caught in a riptide, and he told the Coast Guard, "Save my son." He sacrificed his own life to save his son. Howie Finkel, Road Warrior Animal. So that means, we lost both Road Warriors now.
Zeus, Debo.
Zeus, Tiny Zeus Lister.
Debo from Friday, who is, of course, in Ready to Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually, I think he died of COVID.
Yeah, he died of COVID. There's so many more, and I feel bad because I'm going to forget to mention someone. Like Laparca 2 died.
Tracy Smothers.
Tracy Smothers died of cancer. Just so many deaths in wrestling this year. And it affects you, and it makes you glad that you got to see these people perform, but just you see these wrestlers that you like, and then they die, and you have to remember just how mortal they are.
Yeah. I'm going to say this about with wrestling, more than any other industry. It's one of those industries where you learn how human your heroes are, because there's always a bunch of wrestler deaths. I mean, since the 80s, there's just so many that always, I guarantee you, if you had rock musician drug deaths and wrestling deaths at young ages, the wrestling deaths will fucking stack over that. It's sad. I mean, you look at like Rick Rude's not with us anymore. Kurt Hawkins. I mean, there's just so many that have paved the way and died.
Kurt Hennig.
Mr.
Perfect is not with us anymore.
Yeah.
Roddy Piper, Macho Man. They're not with us.
Some of the legends, And in rock and roll's got Keith Richards still alive. I mean, Lane Staley, dead. Fucking Scott Whalen, dead. Fucking Keith Richards, still alive. How the fuck did one of my dad's heroes outlive two singers I admired when I was like in 6th grade?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they said in Wayne's World 2. Keith Richards cannot be killed by conventional means.
No.
Well, moving on, in quite the year that we've had, a year of bullshit, a year of tears. There have been heroes that have emerged.
Mm-hmm.
There have been people that just bring a smile to your face. And so we're going to go to the MVP of 2020. Now, this is a award that we give away. It's hard to say like who should be the MVP. I always think it's someone that universally is going to be loved by someone. Did something either great or entertaining, but no matter what your background is, no matter what your situation in life or even your political opinions, everyone can get behind this. I think last year we did Baby Yoda, which is a fictional character, but this year we got a real person, and you know him as Mr. TKO. And if you don't know that name, he's the guy that slapped the fuck out of another dude with a can of twisted iced tea.
That shit was funnier than fuck. The dude was asking for it too.
Well, yeah. He was asking for it. I mean, literally.
Like he was literally asking for it after using the word that he shouldn't be using around someone of that. You shouldn't be using it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like I understand movies and stuff that have context with that. Django Unchained, they're bad. The bad guys say that, they die, they deserve it. But this dude thought he was just too fucking cool. And he was like every fucking dude that I knew that thought they were just like hip to shit, growing up in just period. Someone said that if fucking fuck around and find out was a human being, it'd be him. Well, he fucked around and found out.
I wonder if he's watched that video numerous times trying to pinpoint where he went wrong.
Well, he went wrong by fucking being drunk in public.
Well, was he drunk? I mean, that might be just how he acts normally. I have no idea.
Oh, he was drunk.
But, something my dad told my brother and I when we were real little kids, and this guy broke that rule. My dad always said, never, ever offer someone a free shot if you're going to fight them. Never, like, here, hit me. I'll put my hands behind. Never do that.
There was 2 hits. That twisted T hit his face, and then the rest of his body blowing back and hitting the rest of the ground.
Yeah, the guy, Mr. TKO, didn't even hit him at that point. He actually dropped his iced tea, went to pick it up. The dude tried to kick at his hand. At that point, to me, that guy's attempting to assault him. So, yeah, unleash the tea.
Well, what was funny is when fuck around and find out jumped up to go back at him, and then twisted TKO fucking throws him down the ground, starts giving him punches. The fucking the cashier's like, all right, he's had enough. Like, so like, I have to say this, but I'm enjoying watching this. We've been out in public. We've seen douchebags like that,
Yeah, our buddy Gilbert. You weren't there for this, but we were at a Lamb of God concert, and there's this drunk guy, and he's just getting on Gilbert's nerves. Gilbert like flips him over his shoulder, starts punching him in the face. Remind me just like that guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but no, I mean, I think Twisted Tea should hire Mr. TKO. Should hire him as a spokesman, because they have never had their name Googled or anything more than they have right now.
Yeah.
Make him your spokesman. Twisted Tea hit harder than you would ever think.
Boom, boom, pap. Boom, boom, pap. That was funny.
Oh,
There's so many memes that have been made of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, looks like he fucked around and found out.
But yeah, I mean, that everyone I know who's seen that video has loved it. Everyone has said, yeah, I I don't feel bad for the guy that got hit. I fully understand why the guy hit him. I think Mr. TKO is the hero we need in 2020.
Not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need.
Being the year that 2020 was, it might be the hero we deserve too.
There you go.
Let's say, here, crack open a cold one on someone else's head. But no, I mean, like, that's the thing of beauty. It brought smiles to everyone's face.
Yeah.
That Mr. TKO is the MVP of 2020. Now, for every MVP you got to have the opposite, which we like to call the scumbag of 2020. The biggest scumbag of 2020. And let me tell you, there were a lot in the running for this year. Holy hell, were there a lot in the running for this year. It was hard to narrow one down, but we did. We got one. And this is an individual that has pissed off everyone around them.
Oh yeah, Trump supporters, liberals,
poor people, people that are, financially well off but still listen to this person and go, what the fuck? And that has to be
the Turtle Club people.
Senator Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, he's a bitch. He's just
a bitch. He's a miserable son of a bitch in everything I've ever seen him in. But the fact that it's around the holidays, people financially are tapped out because of this pandemic, because of everything going on in the world. He says, I think $600 is enough to
there's your scraps.
Tide people over.
Yeah, there you go. There's your scraps.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I'm in a position where
rich, but he's going to, it's funny because he's worried that when it was proposed $2,000 for these checks, he was worried, number one, that, people who didn't need them might get them. And this is a guy that gave the Koch brothers how much money back in tax returns and everything, like, came up with these financial deals that pay back people money that they don't need. But right. He's worried.
So this is how shit McConnell is. Who's on their way out that is disliked, but was on the right side of this?
Yeah. The annoying orange.
Okay. If he can find a way to come to some common sense with this, then McConnell's fucked.
See that, and here's the thing. Yeah, Trump said, "Hey, why not make it 2,000?" Nancy Pelosi jumped on that and said, "Yeah, I'm cool with that." Now, the first time around, Mitch McConnell claimed that there was a lot of so-called pork in the bill to get people $2,000. So then House Democrats wrote out a bill that was just for this, just for the checks, $2,000, and they passed it in the House. They moved it to the Senate, and what's this motherfucker do? Well, he starts putting other things in there.
Of course,
like since he's all pissy that Twitter and all these other people seem to crack down on things that aren't true. He's like, oh, we gotta do this. We got, he has that weird kind of mumble voice where he doesn't overturn and he doesn't like stuff like that. So he's sitting there saying, oh, the first bill I couldn't sign because it had all these other things in it. So they give him this bill that has just that in it, and he puts other things in it.
Yeah. Well, the Facebook, that here's my thing. Do I like other people getting deplatformed off social media? No. But you know what's worse? The government deciding what social media can put on it. And that's where that shit is. There's no, the moment you ask the government to do it, it's there's no way you can subtly do it. It's the government making a decision on that. You know what country does that? China. They're in line with China. communist China.
Right. But, the thing is, $2,000 can help a lot of people out this time of year. Especially, how many people do we know that are struggling to pay their rent?
Yeah.
Put groceries on the table. Fortunately, you and I aren't. We're not as strapped for cash as some of these people, but we know people who are. And for him to be like 600 is enough. And this guy is how rich? And he's from Kentucky, one of the poorest states out there.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell all his constituents, this is how much you get. This is how much you're worth.
No, they reelected his dumbass. So,
and again, like you said, Trump was behind giving people $2,000.
Yeah,
I don't think it was out of the goodness of his heart. But
hey, there's all kinds of stuff that's been done because of it probably wasn't done out of the goodness of a politician's heart. But
you're right.
At one point, somebody told Trump, "Hey, do you want to be hated for the rest of your life? I mean, you're working on that." Or he knew better. It's one of the things he's been on the right side on. There's only a few things he's been on the right side on.
So he said, "Hey, let's bump these checks up to $2,000." And, the House said, yeah, let's do that. McConnell, because he's majority leader in the Senate, nope, I'm the Grim Reaper. I'm where things come to die. And I'm like, Mitch, you're 3/4 of the way in the grave as it is. Do you really want to go out like this?
Yeah, he does. He's got a lot of special interests telling him what to do.
I think I referred to him as a chinless son of a Mitch. But, I mean, yes, Mitch McConnell, you are the scumbag, the biggest scumbag of 2020. And that is fucking saying a lot.
Yeah. That is saying a lot.
Well, so there's the awards. There's the year-end awards for 2020. Chris, what can you say about 2020?
I asked
earlier, but yes. Well, here's to 2021. I don't know what it's bringing.
Not a whole lot of good.
Invest in a fallout shelter or something, because who knows? It might be dragons. I don't know. I'm hoping it's better.
Yeah.
At least not 2020. It has that going for it. At least it's not 2020.
The bar set low. As what Otis said from Devil's Rejects, when you set the bar really low, you're not constantly disappointed.
Well, and speaking of things 2020 brings, we got more content coming to the channel. There's some hush-hush things that I'm not going to reveal on here until they are done being edited. So just stay tuned. And let us not forget Chris's review of Holy Terror.
Oh, yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah. One of the things me and you discussed with a Cameo account, it's happening. It's happening. We just need to pull the money together and see if we can put it on our channel if they do it. That's going to be fucking funny.
Yep. There's that too. Like I said, stay tuned and enjoy the ride, everyone. From the Adam and Chris Show, I'm St. Adam.
I'm Chris Malice.
And be sure to follow us on all our social media. We're talking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Not Cameo. We're not getting a Cameo, but we're eyeing a Cameo account for some funny stuff.
Oh, it's going to be golden and worth every penny.
All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the awards. Let us know in the comments section if you agree or disagree with any of the winners or losers for this. You got anything you want to add? You got anything you want to add? Okay.
Shank.
Yeah. See ya.